I don't know if it's appropriate to say like civil war or something, but, drink, I guess. Tim Pool said civil war. But we got an interesting one on our hands, and it certainly made me laugh. Republican defends sending grenades to colleagues as a simple gift and urges flustered Democrats to get this upset about the border and the sexualization of children instead. So this is what's going around. A photo of a 40 millimeter grenade, inert, by the way, it's more of a prop, being sent out by Cory Mills, member of Congress. We've had Cory on the show several times. We're fans. I think this is funny, and they need to calm down. But they're losing their minds over this, and it was a clever stunt. Stunt or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what Cory's intentions were on this one, but they're all losing their minds. He sent grenades to us. They're not real grenades, dude. Calm down. It's like, at least Cory certainly knows how to set the news cycle. The Daily Mail reports. Republican Rep. Cory Mills scoffed at the outrage over his simple gift of an inert grenade to fellow House members Friday morning. A photograph obtained exclusively by the Daily Mail showed the Florida veteran had handed out the grenades made in his state emblazoned with the symbol of the GOP, an elephant. Quote, I am honored to be a part of the Armed Services and Foreign Affairs Committee, Mills wrote in a letter accompanying the trinket bomb. The trinket bomb is inert. In that spirit, it is my pleasure to give you a 40 millimeter grenade made for a Mark 19 grenade launcher. These are manufactured in the Sunshine State and first developed in the Vietnam War. A disclaimer at the bottom of the letter confirmed the grenades would not explode. Yes, they're inert. Mills said of the Democratic outrage that the gift has stirred up. If they would get this upset about our borders or the sexualization of our children or things like that, as opposed to a simple gift, that would be really, really nice for once. Amazing. I think that what they're really upset about is that didn't actually give them one of these gifts, he added. There's a word missing. Mills to Fox Business Network Maria Bartiromo. It was customary for lawmakers to pass around gifts from their home state at the start of the new Congress. Is that true? Is that what it is? Ted Lieu says, I am retweeting this action by MAGA Republican Cory Mills of Florida for your information and without comment. Morgan Phillips says, Rep. Cory Mills is passing out grenades to fellow House members. I mean, I'm going to be honest with this one. If that really is the case, that they hand out gifts from their home state and Florida does manufacture these things, this was one of the most epic moves ever. Make them understand what they fund and what they send overseas. Welcome to the party, ladies and gentlemen. Vote on it. You see, these Democrats all voted in lockstep for the war in Ukraine, and now they're also scared because someone's like, these are the bombs that we make. And they're like, oh, yeah, don't make me look at it. It's like the Hunger Games, man. The capital city. You know, the victors go to capital city and they're like, quick, drink this. It'll make you vomit so you can eat more. That's what the Democrats are to me. They don't want to know about how the sausage gets made. Heaven forbid. But they'll vote for it. Ted Lieu, also a veteran and vice chair of the House Democratic Caucus, responded, we read it, I've offered Congressman Ted Lieu, who seemed to have an issue with it, to make him one. Unfortunately, I can't put House majority on the back like I did for everybody else for obvious reasons. Mills said the inert grenade has been cleared by Capitol Police and cleared by the bomb squad. And the letter says, welcoming you to a mission-oriented 118th Congress. I am eager to get to work for the American people, and I look forward to working with you to deliver on this commitment. I am honored to be part of the Armed Services and Foreign Affairs Committee. In that spirit, it is my pleasure to give you a 40 millimeter grenade made for the Mark 19 grenade launcher. These are manufactured in the Sunshine State, first developed in the Vietnam War. Let's come together and get to work on behalf of our constituents. Honorably, Cory Mills, member of Congress. Asterisk. These Florida-manufactured 40 millimeter grenades are inert. Quote, it's clearly nothing more than a paperweight, he said, but you've got people like Ted Lieu and Swalwell who are melting down. Mills won his seat in Florida's 7th District in November, flipping the seat formerly held by Democratic Rep. Stephanie Murphy, a member of the subcommittee that investigated the January 6 riots. Well. Trump-backed Mills has said he does not view President Biden as the legitimate victor in the 2020 election. An Army veteran and defense contractor by trade, Mills touted during his campaign that his company sold tear gas used on Black Lives Matter protesters. Holy crap. Well, look, man, I don't know about that Trump election stuff. I think the real key is going to be ballot harvesting moving forward. You guys know what I think about this. And as for the using them on Black Lives Matter protesters, look, I don't like the idea that cops are firing tear gas at protesters, but I don't know how you expect us to respond to violent terrorists. My point is this. There's a difference. If a protester is marching about, waving a little sign, and cops start firing tear gas, and I've seen it, I say, yo, that's bad. Don't do that. If violent terrorists are smashing windows and literally killing people, and the police fire tear gas, I say, it's the better alternative to lethal force. So I will take it. But our good friend Cenk Uygur is outraged. He says, literally in any other workplace in America, this guy would be immediately fired and very likely arrested. What does it say about us? The craziest workplace in the country is where our representatives gather. You know, I'll say fair point that it is the craziest workplace in the country. Fine. But I just got to push back, man. Look, in a newsroom where Cenk Uygur is supposed to work, I'll tell you, if one of our reporters came back with a 40 millimeter grenade and said, boom, from my trip, we'd go, wow, that's really cool. Do you know how many 40 millimeter foam rounds and shell casings I've collected? When we're on the ground, me and the crew, and we're reporting on riots and civil unrest and things like that, and you find expanding foam rounds or you find bean bags or whatever, you take them. Not all of them. You don't collect them and put them in a little bag and then carry a big bag of them to like put in a recycling center. No, you take one. Look, the reason why I grab these things is to explain to people what they are. And it's like a piece of that moment. So it's a fragment representing a thing that happened, an artifact, as it were. So I can say, this is a shell casing from the French riots. This is when people did X, Y, and Z, A, B, and C. Table. And you know what? They make interesting gifts depending. A lot of the things that I collected from when I traveled around, I've kept. I don't want to give away. But I usually take one piece of every story I covered. Why? It is a physical representation of that story. It happened. It exists. I've got the newspaper from St. Louis during Ferguson. I've got police tape from when that black nationalist assassinated those cops. I even have fragments of rock from Ukraine. I'll leave it at that. These are just pieces that, like, this thing happened. This is where this came from. Now, as for this with Cory Mills, dude just got a paperweight, a toy. In any workplace, dude, how about in defense contracting? If I got to tell you, Cory Mills in any other workplace probably gives these things out or has to other companies. So he's got like somebody does business deals with him on like metal sourcing or something. He probably says, hey, thanks for doing business with us for this many years. We really appreciate it. And they open the box and there's little fake grenades and it says, these grenades are inert. We hope you appreciate the gift. And they're probably like, oh, look at that. We supply the metal to these guys. Put them on the shelf. Cenk Uygur is just exaggerating. I can't believe that they're feigning such outrage over this. But to be honest, I probably shouldn't even say that. Except I can. They get outraged no matter what happened. They want to act like they don't fund this, that they don't agree with this. And they do, and they always have. So you know what? I'm not going to rag on Cory Mills. I'll click that follow button. I'm not going to rag on Cory Mills because his company, or I don't know if he makes this, but there are companies in Florida that manufacture these things. I think he might. I'm not sure. He's a defense contractor, so I think he might make them. It is what it is. I don't care for the tool. I care for the usage. If we make tear gas, we go to war. And there are guys who are like, yeah, we're going to kill. And then you say, okay, tear gas them. That is better than killing people. So it's like, okay. Now, it's a grenade, I guess, to be launched at people. But listen, the ability to defend yourself is a God-given right. What we don't want to see is foreign wars where these weapons are used on innocent populations. That would be wrong. If it happens, I will criticize it. But someone making it is what it is. This idea that you can get rid of all the weapons, it's just fantasy. You can't. So we're going to make them. And I'm not going to blame the guys who do. I'm going to say, okay, I'm not going to blame any of the gun manufacturers, the bullet manufacturers, none of that. You know what I will blame them for? If they make something faulty and it backfires and injures somebody. Then I'll say, guys, what are you doing? We got standards here, huh? But how about this, Democrats? If you're so angry, Start voting against all the war. When you do that, then I'll say, okay, well, these guys oppose the war and oppose voting for it and funding it. So it's no wonder they're mad they're getting this stuff. But you know what, honestly, I got on my shelf right here from Phoenix Ammunition. You see it every night in Timcast IRL, 50 BMG casings. They're not, I don't think they've ever actually been used. They're just shell casings. They do make great gifts. How about that? I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up in a few minutes. Stick around and I'll see you all shortly.